guys, thank you so much for tuning back to Urban Tropical. This is Raj, and before I talk about today's topic, I just want to say thank you so much for supporting my channel. It means a lot to me. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Monstera Deliciosa, or called as a Swiss cheese plant. If you have this plant and it's not doing great, please, I highly recommend you watch this video because I went through that phase when you expect something to do great and it doesn't. Okay. Number one reason why do we have this plant? It gives you jungle feel. It is really easy to maintain, not fussy like many other amazing looking plants. And number one factor again, lighting conditions. It can do with a variety of light. Everyone will say, what I have read, that do not put it in direct sunlight, it will scorch your leaves. So these are the key reasons we think, okay, well, good with the low lighting. It's no expensive plant to buy and amazingly, but it doesn't do well when you bring it home. And then you think, well, I really thought it was going to do better, but it didn't. So I bought this plant, I think 2 to 3 years ago. I don't remember to be precise. It was a really baby plant this size. And it grew. It did grow actually. I didn't care much for it because it's a low maintenance plant. That means I'm supposed to water when it needs water. I'm supposed to give it some worm castings, and I'm supposed to give it some seaweed feed, and it's good to go. I don't have to hassle about it. But it didn't do what I expected it to do. I have seen, when you go to these hot countries and you see Monstera even outside, I don't see any leaf scorching. It's always around the trees I have seen, but I don't see the leaf scorching. It just looks amazing. And the only reason I bought this plant was because it's supposed to give me this jungle feel. I'm supposed to feel like this is and this is my kitchen area, and I always like to fill my kitchen with plants. So why wasn't it doing great? And now it has done so well in the past 5 or 6 months than it did in the past 2 years, just because I changed my strategy. And now let's get to it. So number one thing, your plant isn't doing well. Check your pot. This one is really fast growing. Trust me, it is. Even though we don't get to see that, it is fast growing plant. So if you think your pots has the roots coming down, that's a big sign. Repot me, please. So check that. So this one has roots coming out this big from the drainage holes from the pot. And I just never got the time to pot it up. And I was thinking, yeah, I'll do it. And eventually I did it, but it doesn't look that lush in that video. If you check out, I feel so embarrassed actually how bad the plant looks. It's all down to my care. That's number one thing. Please do check for that. Second, it needs a climbing structure, and we give it this moss pole. The one we buy are from the market. They are not really moss poles. They are just a plastic tube which is wrapped with either coconut coir. Even that looks so plasticky because coconut coir is supposed to absorb 7 or 8 times, at least I would expect, the water. It absorbs no water. So when you spray on it, all the water trickles down. So what moss pole is supposed to do? Give the aerial roots and the stem the moisture, and the roots will dig into it. That gives it a really good support, and roots can do well and plant can go up. Well, our normal moss poles don't do that unless you have actual moss pole. So what I did was, I didn't have really a proper moss pole. I don't buy moss. I wouldn't say never. So far I don't buy moss. So I decided to just use my wall as a climbing kind of a frame. So that's number 2 reason. Make sure it has a really good support for it to sustain itself and go up. Third reason, lighting is the key thing. So this plant used to be kind of in low to medium light somewhere, I would say. And then I just decided to put it south facing door. So this is my south facing door here. It gets bright sunlight which is always reflecting onto the leaves, and yet not a single scorching. And all summer this plant has been here. It's kind of permanently fixed, so I can't even move it. So that's what I'm talking about. If it was not able to deal with direct light, it should be scorched, but it hasn't. So I just think that's kind of we always read things and we believe things, but sometimes when you get fed up and you think, well, I'm just going to try it, and you won't believe my philodendron verrucosum did so great, which is right next to here. It grows leaves so much more faster just because it's south facing. It gets a scorching sunlight and not a single burn on my leaves. That's how amazing the light is for these plants. Another reason why your plant wouldn't do well, so we talked about lighting, is the feed. So usually old me will give it worm castings, will give it seaweed, and then I will say, well, I'm done. It's a low maintenance plant. I have given it everything I need to. It should just do well. Well, that is not the case. Either you should do seaweed a lot. I'm not that proactive. So this time, first time actually, I end up buying synthetic food. I don't remember the name. I think it's called Osmia Coat something. I will put the link there. Okay. So I put 4 tablets in that pot and I kept on watering throughout the summer. So plant takes the nutrition from the tablets and eventually they give it good 6 months feed to this plant, so I don't have to touch it ever again. Just water it. Now you see the size of the leaves. It's really humongous. That means they need light, they need water, and they definitely need feed to sustain this growth. So the more, I wouldn't say, I will say that go all out, you end up burning your plant, but just be reasonable. Normally if you buy those tablets, it's written on it, if the size of the pot is this, use 1 tablet or 2 tablet. I have used 4. That seems to be, it's just kind of guesswork I did. I thought 4 should be enough, and still every month I gave it a seaweed on top just to top it up because I knew it was doing so well. I didn't want it to stop. I mean, even if you look at it now, it's just facing this way. That's where the light is. And if I had it on the pot, freestanding, I would be moving its layout. So I would be giving it a quarter turn or a half a turn, whichever way I just think it looks better. And I will make sure it gets fuller from every single angle. But now it's all leaning towards here. There is nothing I can do. It's not like I don't like it. I still like it. So that's really the key things. Watering, lighting, feeding, and a good solid structure to go up. And again, I'm not going to talk about propagation. You know, it's super easy. You just cut it right on the node and you're good to go. Just put it in water. It's one of the easiest plant. I find it is even easier and quicker than pothos to propagate. I mean, that's how cool it is. So I really hope that this video was useful, and if it was, please give it a thumbs up. If you think I could have done better, you can always leave your comments, or if you have your own tricks to make this plant do a lot more better, please leave it in the comments. And thank you so much for tuning in. Bye bye.